Well, in 1952, here in Myrtle Beach, on the 10th or 12th of May, I forgot my exact date, the 10th of May in the afternoon, in the lagoon cabin.
At 3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock, yes. We were having an appointment with Baba, and Baba was sitting on the couch, and he got up and he walked toward us, and Ella threw open her arms and fell into Baba's arms and said, "Oh, Baba!" And with that, Baba looked over her shoulder at me and twinkled one eye. This was the most momentous piece of life I ever lived through, and I will never live it again. Because here, for 5 years, I've been waiting for that moment to meet him. For 5 years, I didn't know whether it's so or it's not so. How can it be? I asked myself many times. At one time, even before I met Baba, I stood before the shaving mirror and shaved myself and put soap in my face. I looked in the mirror and I hollered out to Ella, "Mosh, do you think Baba has a sense of humor?" She didn't even answer. I just busted out laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. But at this moment here, in the lagoon cabin, I felt a physical impact right here in the middle of my chest. Something physically moved in there. It was not painful or hurtful, but joyful. And I recognized in this being who embraced Ella, I recognized him that he is everything, everything. And he has been ever since everything to me since that moment. Well, this was perhaps the most monumental experience I had with Baba.
You have a question, Ada?
Any other question?
I'm just enjoying it too much to ask anything.
Huh?
I feel too much in what you're saying to ask anything. There's nothing to ask.
Well, after that, Baba sat down on the couch. Ella was sitting on one side of him. I was sitting on the other side. He held his arms out on both sides. Ella held his hand on one side. I held his hand on the other side. And he told us, he asked, "Well, how long will you be here?" He asked that amongst other things. And so I said, "Well, Baba, I will be here 2 weeks. That will be," oh, he said, "that will be fine. We will see each other a great deal." So, we don't know how long. It must have been over half an hour that we were sitting there and holding hands with Baba. And he said, "Tomorrow I will tell you what my plans are." And at that, we got up and walked out hand in hand down that narrow path and found ourselves standing in front of the water. We almost had walked into the water. And Ella was had an impulse to turn around and look. Well, there was Baba standing in the door, waving his hand at us. And so we went back and we went to our quarters. Well, this was really the greatest experience we have had. I don't know about Ella, but what do you think was your greatest moment of meeting him?
Well, my greatest moment was when I went into Baba's white outstretched arms and said, "Baba, I just felt like coming home." There was Baba's love, so overpowering and overwhelming. There's nothing else to say. What can you say but Baba?
When you were first with Baba, Did Baba give you any special instructions, or did he say anything for future work?
Yes, he gave us a piece of work to do, but we were restricted from revealing it to others, inasmuch as it was more of a private nature. But let it be said that Baba, the following day, through circumstances, he let us know that we are to leave Myrtle Beach, and everybody felt sorry for us. So we have time for 2 weeks. We have vacation for 2 weeks, and when after the vacation is over, maybe then we can go and take care of the matter. So Ella said after a while, well, it isn't quite so. Baba, when he gives an order, he wants that order taken care of immediately. And so we said, some word was passed on to Baba. What should be done about it? Should we do it now after the 2 weeks are over? And we got word immediately. We'd say, tomorrow morning, as soon as you can. Do it as early as you can. So, in the middle of the night, we woke up. We couldn't sleep. And I said to Ella, are you awake? And she said, yes, are you? I said, yes. I can't sleep anymore. You want to go? Yes, we go. And off we went. When we passed the gate of the Mayor Spiritual Center here, a full moon was over the center, and we stopped the car, and we meditated on Baba, and off we went. We never went to New York that fast. And we took care of the matter. If we had waited one single day, we would never been able to do what Baba had asked us to do. It would have been physically impossible. Just circumstances fell into place in such a way that there couldn't be anything else but Baba's doing.
It means if Baba gives you an order, you have to do it immediately.
Immediately,
not wait,
yeah.
right?
And not wait and use your own judgment in the matter, because that is the thing. Well, so we come to 1954.
Yeah.
That was an episode in itself, inasmuch as we were 17 Western men. We came from all walks of life. But it didn't make any difference, because we didn't see each other. We saw only Baba. He was the only one we directed our eyes to. We had no communication with each other, because Baba was talking to us. For that night we were too tired to talk to each other. Baba gave discourses from 9 to 12, from 2 to 4, 5 o'clock. Ad lib. Nobody prompted. His hand flew over that blackboard, over that alphabet board, just like lightning, like streaks of lightning. And each thing he told us was a power in itself. Sometimes he would say, stop writing, make no notes. Keep it here. After about 2 weeks were gone, Baba called me and he said, Fred, did you write to Ella? I said, no, Baba, you told us not to think of home or wives or business or children. You must write to Ella right away. So I wrote Ella a letter, and amongst others I told her that Baba has given me permission to write, but all this time, forgive me that I didn't write you, because I couldn't. Because I felt as if I was stuck to a high tension wire and couldn't let go. And then I closed a blossom which fell into Baba's script, which I retrieved quickly without anybody seeing it, and closed that in a letter. And then not very long later, a few days later, there was a sign over the end of the crypt, do not enter. How did he know I was down there? There was nobody in the tomb when I went down. However, I got the blossom, and else still has it, but out in the letter. What we experienced during these 3 weeks, there are things you cannot put into words, because they are inadequate. Well, up on Meribot Hill, where we were stationed in the dormitory, there was a little room on the foot of the dormitory where Baba held these interviews with each one of the Western men who came and were permitted to see him. And so as I saw the row of men going in and coming back out, some of them with tear-stained faces, worried looks and crying, shaken to the innermost self, and others coming away like children from a Christmas tree, so happy, so full of smiles and gay. And I was kind of worried about it, what would happen to me if I go in there. So when my time came, I stepped into the door, and Baba stepped off the platform where a chair was standing on, and he stepped down and he walked toward me, and he became bigger and bigger and bigger as I looked up at him, and there I saw within myself the aloneness, the unworthiness of my being in his presence, all the grossness, and I busted out crying. And I cried, I couldn't stop crying, and I cursed myself for not being able to control myself. And Baba just calmly said, just keep on, let it flow. Too much has been bottled up within you. And finally, when it subsided and I became myself again, he said, well, tell me, how did you get here? You didn't have any money to get here. I said, oh, Baba, you remember the car you rode in New York City when you were in New York? He said, yes, what happened about it? Well, I had to take a loaner to get here. And he was kind of taken aback that I took a loan. He said, when you get back to the States, you immediately have to pay back that loan as quickly as possible. Then in a later conversation, he said, you have to see to it that you always have some money. Well, in looking back, there was a girl named Beryl Williams. And as we men left the States, the women amongst each other would say, why could they go? Why couldn't we go? So Beryl Williams in her beautiful voice said, well, they needed it more. Perhaps we did.
You once told us a story about what Baba said about the destruction.
Oh yes,
Okay.
about the destruction. Darwin Shaw, John Bass, myself, and Ali. We were standing on Baba's bed. He had his leg in a cast. He was bare to his hip, and he held a heart of roses against his chest. And all of a sudden the room became quiet, and a thought popped into my mind about someone who wanted to retire into the mountains and stock the home up with food on account of oncoming destruction. I don't like to speak much about this thing because it seems to disturb many young minds. They right away visualize something else, that atomic or what have you. But Baba's way of doing things is quite different from what we imagine. This is my idea. So I told Baba, I asked Baba, I said, Baba, there is somebody who wants to take his family up in the mountains and stock it with fruit. And he stopped me, right like this. He said, nothing will be saved. Only by the grace of God shall man be saved. And when this happens, you and you and you stay put. Even the top of the Himalaya will not be saved. So this was the answer he gave me as far as the destruction is concerned. I have often thought about what he really meant by staying put. But I think the true meaning, Elizabeth Patterson can tell you more better than I can, because she had an incident where that staying put meant something and resulted into something which was of great benefit to her.
Right.
What was your feeling about it? Did you believe it? Didn't you believe it? Didn't you write to send a cable right away to India to find out whether it is true? We couldn't believe it. What?
We telephoned.
We telephoned, right. That's
But
right. Then say so. You heard, I'm talking wrong. I'm not telling the fact.
Did you receive the cable, Ellen?
We both got the cable.
And, well, what was your immediate reaction as soon as you heard that Baba had dropped his body?
Well, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. Margaret West phoned us, and she said that Ivy Deuce phoned her from San Francisco and said that Baba dropped his body. Fred answered the phone, and I said, this is a joke, I don't believe it. We have to make sure. We have to telephone Adi or Meherji in India. So we tried to get connection, but it was impossible. They said it takes 14 hours. Then we said, this is an emergency, we must have immediate connection. Then within a half hour, we had the connection, and we got Meherji's house, and Homai answered, and she said, yes, it is true, Baba dropped his body. Meherji just went to Mehrasad. Then, in the morning, we got a a short cable trace, which confirmed that was sent by Adi, that Baba dropped his body. Then after that, a long cable came, telling us the details. And we had to send it and circularize it all over the United States to all the Baba groups. And we wanted to go so much to India. Their phones, Rick and Alan from the airport, they said we are on our way to India. And we just couldn't go because we felt everybody had to know, right? And then it started, and we worked, and we sent a cable, us a cable again, to many groups, and then us a letter, and everybody was notified. Of course, we didn't know what happened to ourselves. We just couldn't think, we just felt it just couldn't be possible, you know.
And the work was the most important thing. Since Baba had gone, we had to do the work.
That's all.
and we carried on. We couldn't go to India. We had to do the work because the cables came.
That's right.
And we had to transmit the cables to all the different groups. And we were hard sore that we couldn't go. But in another way, in another sense, we felt absolutely nothing, because we were involved in Baba's work, and we kept on working with the young people, with all the people. We tried to bring home to them the importance of this moment. It was a great moment, but a physical loss of Baba was really compensated for with his grace and love which he has left behind for us. He has given us many chances, and we recognized them, and we were very grateful for them.
But we also felt very dynamic what Ari said in the cable, that Avatar Meher Baba dropped his body, but he will live eternally in the hearts of all his lovers.
We are too busy with the flight to be concerned with anything else, because for the welfare of the young people and all those are participating. And believe me, I don't want to be a big, make myself big about it, or Ella big about it, but we were busy from morning to night, from night to morning. Telephone calls we had received in a hotel in the middle of the night, or this one wants that, and that one wants that. We were fully occupied while we were in India. When we came to the tomb, it was just a crowd of people there. So when we got back, we were pretty sick from some food we had eaten, and so not so very long later, was it 4 weeks ago? 4 weeks later? 4 weeks later, we were sitting one morning at breakfast table, and I looked at Ella. She was so pensive, looking down at her cereal, and I looked at her and I said, "What is it, Miss? You want to go to India?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Let's go." So we went the second time, right? So when we came the second time, that was a different story altogether. We thought we would be all out on our own, but believe me, the whole world must have known it, because there were a dozen American beauties waiting for her. We were dropped in her lap at the airport, and when we got red carpet treatment all the way through to India. I don't know, we didn't tell the people we are going to India the second time, but yet when we came to India and arrived
we just were so homesick.
Yeah.
We wanted to go to Baba's tomb.
Yeah.
Be there once alone and go back home, and that's all.
Except that everybody knew about it.
But anyway, we got to Baba's tomb. Early in the morning, it was before 8 o'clock, and there was nobody there. The watchman, was it?
That was the night watchman. He bundled up his bedroll. And he just left.
Yeah. And there we were with Baba alone. And a little while later, Irwin and Edward came. We started to fix up Baba's tomb, put fresh flowers down, swept outside, and we were so jealous of those two sweet children. Baba called them once my westernmost. They were just so blessed to be around Baba's tomb for a few months every day. But we were also very, very happy.
We were happy for them, yes indeed, because they must have gathered some experiences. They must have outlived many incarnations in those few months.
You know, and when they came back from that trip, after it was all over, they stayed one night with us overnight, and in the morning I said, "You certainly have changed since you came back from Baba's tomb." So Irwin said, "If anyone who is so long near Baba's tomb and feels Baba's love and the power, if he doesn't change, then it is almost impossible to, so that's how they have changed. So very, very much. We brought back Baba's love." I said, what is my Fredella going to do when Fred is retiring from the Manhattan house? So we never were be thinking about anything, and we just wrote to Baba. Baba sent that message to Mani. We just wrote to Baba that we want to continue to serve him and love him more and more. And then Mani said Baba might wish it that we settle in Mill Beach or at the center. But Mani said wait until Baba makes his final decision. Then the cable came and Baba said a few personal things, and then he said, "Continue living in New York 4 to 5 more years before settling at the center. Signed by Baba. So the 5 years are over. We packed up in New York and now we are here in Little Beach, waiting what Baba has in store for us. Trying to love Him more and more and serve Him more sincere. Because there is nothing but Baba, how fortunate we all are and how blessed we all are that He has drawn us to Him.
When you were with Baba in India, Fred, did Baba take you to the places of his perfect masters?
He took us to Sakuri, where Pastor Maharaj's the body is buried, and we were having lunch there with the ladies served us, and he showed us around Sakuri. And on one occasion, when we were standing in front of the shrine of in front of Upasani Maharaj, had Irwin call out loud that he, Avatar Meher Baba, has brought the West to Upasani Maharaj as he promised some years ago to Upasani Maharaj. And here we are, and there was a marble stone, a marble slab, about a foot by 6 inches wide and about a foot high above the floor, and he made us all bow down and touch the forehead to this marble slab in front of Upasani Maharaj's tomb. He had his hand between the forehead and the stone each time one would bow down to the stone. His hand was between the stone and the forehead of the Westerner. There's not much to tell because it was mostly for the eyes to behold what was going on in that ashram. We visited the ladies' room where they have their bedding hung up on wires underneath the ceiling. The ladies took us to the music room. And so there were no important things to report lately, excepting Frank Eaton and I, we received a flute each. And we were feeling away, on the way back, going back to the Naga and the Mirabat. Then Baba had the whole caravan of cars stopped. And Ali came and called, Frank, Fred? And he answered, yes. Baba wants those flutes. Of course, Baba wants the flute to give it to him. Good. A day later, in the midst of a discourse, Baba says, Frank and Fred, do you know why I took those flutes away from you? Of course you didn't know. He said, they have all the bacteria in them I ever made. So I had to take them away from you. So don't worry, be happy. The 3 weeks in here, Baba, they're the most beautiful times of our lives, the beautiful weeks. He took us up to the hill behind the Narasat and showed us the places where he'd been into seclusion. There was a seclusion was standing on a platform, but all this has been already shown in our film before, so no sense of repeating. That was the shells, that was in 56, wasn't it?
That was in 56.
Yeah.
Yes. But Baba asked us all to look for shells on the beach, you know? And everybody brought shells to Baba for Mera, the most precious ones. Baba picked out to send them for Mary. Then we were already on the way back when Fred comes running after Baba, and he had found what you call
angel wings.
Angel wings. 2 shells from the Fredella.
2 halves. 2 halves.
Yeah, like 2 wings.
Yeah.
And he gave him to Baba, you see, and Baba took him into his hands, and he broke him apart. He gave one to Fred, he gave one to me, and he put them together again after that.
Yeah.
And we still haven't done that.
Oftentimes in Mirabat, when we would be sitting around the dining room table and would eat, Baba would restlessly walk up and down. Finally, he would sit down on the cordon covered ground and lean his back against the supporting pole of the roof while the Westerners were eating. The thought struck me very absurd. Here the guardman is sitting on the ground on the dirt floor while we are eating the delicious meals which he had ordered for us. I couldn't quite understand. So finally he went up, and he goes around the table, he nudged one in the side, the other one he hit the head in the soup spoon, and the other one he tickles on the side, and then he came around in back of me while I was finishing my dessert. And he made a motion of, do you like it? I said, oh yes, Papa, I like it, very good, very good. So he waves on the boy. The boy came running, and Baba said to him, bring him another one. So the boy brings me the other helping, and it was good, excellent. I ate that, and I hardly was finished. There was Baba back again. He said, how do you like it? Baba, very good, but that's enough. So I had 3 helpings. Well, to make a long story short, when we got down to the meeting hall in Lower Mirabat, I never could sit with my feet tucked underneath. I had to always sit flat on the ground with my feet stretched out in front of me. When we were sitting in a U-shaped formation, and Bob was in the open end of the U, sitting on the couch. When I saw him talking to Irwin and pointing in a general direction, so all of a sudden Irwin says, Fred? I said, yes, Baba, because we don't say Irwin, we say Baba. He says, Baba says, you look like a Brahmin after a big meal. Joke, if he had given me the needle, I had eaten 3 helpings. So he gave us little lessons here and there, and some of them were very pregnant. This one was meant only for my dreams, for sleep, that I should stay away from him, because this was sleep is evidence in itself. So he can imagine, all had this one Moses with us at all expenses. Now, you're asking me, did Baba cut in on our socks? And did I thinking of something else? Yes, he did. Oftentimes he would do that, and at one time, after this had been the Awakener Magazine given, and this night he cut in on mine, and he says, what do you think about Fred? And I say, when the heart is full, the mouth runs over. Because that was all I could say. It was just came spontaneously. There was nothing I could say, really, because the feeling of fullness was there, and the completeness of being with the Master. It was so complete. Nothing was lacking, really. The heart was full. The mouth closed over. You couldn't speak anymore. And that is the whole situation. So it went around from one to the other. One morning, Baba would come up to the top of the hill, and we would stand in a semicircle, awaiting his coming, and then he would go around and would say, well, how did you sleep? He would make the motion, how did you sleep? The fellow would say, yes, fine, good, Baba, fine. Then the other one, he said, how's your health? He would show the pulse of, how's your health? All right, Baba, okay. Then he would say, he would make a motion like this. So, he was asked whether he was contributed to the potty. The Baba was told, yes, he was to the potty. That was all right. And so that was around. Baba was very outgoing. He said, don't feel restricted like some masters do, that you have to stand up in his presence. I want to be your friend. Relax. You can do anything you like in my presence. And then he gave us a discourse, and that's also written down. It's too long to give here in the film. And that deals with that we should, he plays with us. He jokes with us. He laughs with us. But we should never forget that he is God. That's what he said. He never could forget it, or he was with him. And he still is with us. At this very moment, as I'm talking, I relive it, and as I recapture those moments of bliss and happiness and joy, it is all we can live for.
Ella, would you tell us about the story about the fish that you prepared for Baba?
The fish, the meal that you cooked for Baba.
Yeah, how that happened, yeah.
Now you're on the spot.
Oh. Well, when Baba was in Middle Beach in 56 and in 58, of course he knew that I never liked to cook. So I was asked to cook for Baba every day, fish and spinach, you know. And Kitty said, you better make sure Baba would not like to find a bone in the fish. You have to make sure that there is no bone. All right, the first day, I said, how shall I make the fish? So it should be parboiled and fried in butter. I didn't know what parboiled meant. So I thought I put hot water, dip it into hot water and then put it in breadcrumbs and then I fried it. And there were quite a few fish there. And I made it ready and Baba came to the guest house and had his fish. And I suppose it also was supposed to be for Eric and I'm not sure for Artie, but for one or two of them. And after Baba had finished the fish, he came out into the kitchen and he embraced me. And Eric said, Baba liked the fish very much. He ate it all alone. So next day, Kitty brought a different fish, and that fish was full of bones. So Kitty said, you have to feel it with your fingers and take all the bones out. So I did feel it with my fingers, and wherever I put my finger, there was another bone. So, of course, the whole fish was being plucked apart. What shall I do? I put the fish together, put breadcrumbs over it, and fried it, and brought it in to Baba. After a while, Ernst comes out. He said, I brought the fish into Baba, and I was waiting that after Baba had finished the fish, he would come out and give me another embrace. But this time, Baba did not come out and give me an embrace, but Ernst came out And he said, the fish was all right, but Baba next time would like to have it in one piece. Because I had plucked the whole fish apart, finding out if there was a bone in it, you know. There was no bone in, but the fish was all in little pieces. So Baba had to pick up piece by little piece and eat it. And he wasn't very pleased about it either. Once I was alone with Baba in Ivy Deuce's house in 1952. And Baba just was addressed after his interviews, and he had called me in. And there was no one of his disciples with me. He was all alone, and I was sitting at rest. And he looked at me, and it was just as if he was talking to me. And one day I said aloud, Baba asked me, are you happy? I said, yes, Baba, I'm very happy. And then he snapped his fingers, and Sarge came in and brought the tea. And then he motioned me that I may go. And afterward, I was thinking about it. There was nobody with Baba but Baba and myself, and Baba had asked me. I felt aloud, are you happy? And I said, yes, Baba, I am very happy. I said aloud, but Baba, apparently he didn't speak to me, I just felt it, you know. That is when we are with Baba. It's just from him to our heart, and we respond.
What was your...
It happened to you too once, right?
Yeah.
Baba talked to you, and you answered, and Baba was not with you.
What was in 52?
In 52, after Baba left.
In 1952, there were two cars, one were on entrance B and the other one in the D section and of the building. Baba was in the car, standing in front of D. There was nobody else there. The door was open. Baba was sitting in the back of the seat with his leg in the cast. As he was suffering, I said to Baba, threw up his hands as if in great pain and lowered them onto his leg, which was encased in a cast. And I said to him, why is it that you have to suffer so much? And I heard him say, so it has been, so it is, and so it always will be. And it was a couple of years later that I realized that there never had been anybody present. It was an inward communication from Baba to me, but yet I heard the voice as clear as if you would speak to me. A humorous incident, well, at this moment I don't know of any really in particular.
Did Baba ever do anything that was particularly funny that made you start to laugh?
Well,
the hat and things like that. At the airport for the hat.
Well, yes, in Williamsburg, we were waiting for the plane to arrive, and Baba would go around and kid with this and all with that one. And finally, in a funny mood, I had put Billy Eaton's little hat band over my head, just to be funny. So Baba grabbed Dr. Ben Heyman's cap, which is a striped cap. And he put this on top, and then he snapped Billy Eaton's headdress over the top of it. And we laughed really a great deal about it, because Baba took me then by the hand and Ben Heyman by the hand, and he walked towards the movie camera. And I looked like a Parisian taxi cab driver, and Baba had a chuckle in his head, and he squeezed my hand just like as if to say, now I got you, now I got you. But it was really funny. Everybody
But
laughed
he
about
would
it.
have kept himself.
But he would have kept himself at that time too. And I still have the cap. It's the mudballs.
Can you ever remember Baba telling a joke? You know, making everybody laugh or having a joke told to him or something?
No.
Did Baba do that?
No, not that I recall any right now.
Did you find Baba mostly serious?
No, Baba could be funny in his motions. The station wagon was standing in front of the guest house in the parking area, and Baba came out, walked briskly toward the station wagon, and he waved me to come over. He was waving at, so finally he looked at me straight and made again the motion of come to me. So I said, yes, Baba, yes. So he made a motion like driving a car. I said, yes, Baba, me? He said, it is. So I went in. I got into the car, proud as a Spaniard. Oh, here we go, driving the Avatar. We got down the road, and all of a sudden I find myself surrounded by trees and no place to go. And Baba chuckled. He chuckled. I said, Baba, you gotta help me, I'm in the woods. So I had to back out a long way. One of the men we got out, and he had to direct me the way back out of the woods. How I got there, I don't know this day, because I knew the center like the palm of my hand. But he had his joke on me, because I always felt that I was a pretty good driver. But he wanted to show me that I ain't so good, as I thought I was. Well, Baba, that wouldn't be right.
No, you can't.
I cannot misquote him. All I remember was as it was given in the messages, the final declaration, the explanation, and then the time element and all that.
What did you think at the time? Because if you were present when Baba said that he would break his silence, what were your thoughts, your own thoughts at that time regarding that?
I thought, if Baba ever was to break his silence, it would perhaps be acknowledged by the masses as the greatest miracle, and they would be attracted by it. But then I found out later on that it's quite the contrary, that he didn't break his silence, attracted more than he would have broken his silence. Because everyone still expects the Baba to manifest somehow. And he certainly is manifesting. You say, how? Well, not so very long ago. It's less than 10 years ago. But there are only very few Baba followers in this country. And since then, you count the pebbles on the sand, on the sand. You won't know how many there are in the right here right here in our country. We are aware of Baba, and they follow Baba without having a personal contact with him, but they have a human contact with him, because the word became alive. The word he had spoken to all of us. But at one time, Baba said, stay with me close now, because the time will come when there are thousands of others standing around me in huge crowds, and you will be standing on the outer fringes. You will hardly get a glimpse of me.
No young people.
No, he got that on the tape. That was the end of it, wasn't it?
Yeah. What about the new people that are coming and that start to come into your home and asking about Baba? Were you surprised to begin to see a lot of young people?
It is true. In the earlier years, we were few who regularly came and attended the Monday night meetings. And then, in the later few years, about 4 or 5 years ago, it started just like a bushfire.
Especially after Baba had dropped his
Especially after Baba dropped his body. The young people, they came streaming from the campus, from everywhere, from all walks of life. The children came and wanted to know about Baba. They wanted to know what impression did Baba make on you? Will you tell us? We couldn't tell them enough. We were repetitious in our retelling the stories. And they couldn't get enough, and they were so enthused about Baba, and that's what he has written. They wanted to know more about him and live by his words. And many did. Many of them, they became clean of the drug habits. Others went back to school. Others picked up their responsibility towards their family and their commitments to a young woman who had received a child from them. They lived again a new life. Not that they became afflicted with the conventional way, with the so-called establishment. No, they began a new establishment of their own, of self-discipline within himself, instilled by Baba's words. Baba told him the right way to be true to themselves. When Baba said, think always of me, whatever you may be doing, and gradually it will be me doing everything through you. I the doer, not you. So what concern have you with the result? In addition to that, all the elders used to say, don't lose heart, but keep me in your heart. And remember, I'm always with you. And we say that daily, morning, noon, and night. And that is our staff to lean on, Baba's words, Baba's love, His grace. And when we came in 1954, the Mirabad, Baba said, I am God. Remember, I'm God. I sit on the ground with you, I play with you, I laugh with you. But don't forget that I am God, the divine. I know what you think now, and I know what you will take with you from here now, and you will always be in my thoughts. I'm always with you. Then he said, I am the one who is always lost and found among mankind. It is your love for yourself that loses me, and it is your love for me that finds me. Love me above everything, for now, while I am in your midst, I am most easily found as I really am. And that was what he told us in those years. There were many things he told us, but we can't repeat them all. Our mind just gives out.
What about Ella? Did Baba ever say to you that he was God? Baba ever say to you?
I told you this now.
Was Ella there then when Baba said that?
No, that was 54. That was in 54.
Was there any time, Ella, that Baba said that he was God to you?
That was not necessary.
Oh.
That's a good answer.
You didn't have to say it.
No.
You knew it.
Was there any, what you would call, miraculous things around Baba that happened in your presence? Not that Baba ever intended to perform miracles, but did you witness anything that you would call, miraculous?
Well, that incident I told you about was to us miraculous when he sent us from Myrtle Beach to New York. That was in itself miraculous because, well, how do you call it coincidence?
No, I mean,
But everything fell into place?
Baba said we have to talk about it.
But I'm not talking about that. Just say that this incident itself was a thought. It couldn't have been a coincidence that everything fell into place as smoothly as it did.
Always does. Always put you in order and do your best. It works out just the way.
According to that, all our life is a miracle. It's a wonder.
That's right.
It is a wonder. A great miracle to be here now in Middle Beach. And
were you present at the time that Baba did anything that you would say would be miraculous?
no. Baba was surrounded by us all. He was sitting on the ground, and after the dancers had shown him some finger tricks and he wanted to imitate them, he wanted to get up, and so I reached out my hand to him, and he got, and he wanted to, and I wanted to help him pulling up, but he made himself extra heavy. He was heavy, man, and I can lift. I had to struggle to get him up, and then afterward, he chuckled a little laugh. He knew that he just had taxed my strength just up to the limit. But I couldn't let him go because else he would have plumped back down on the ground. So that was a music incident of them all. And he has done so many things like that. When we were standing in that half circle, he would go around and ask everybody how they were. He would come around, all of a sudden he gives you a kidney blow. A real hard blow. I felt that for a couple of days.
That means he does something special.
That was a special thing, because when a master strikes a disciple, it is very beneficial, very beneficial. So if you get kicked around by the master, I hope you appreciate it.
It's good for you.
I know most of his ways were always so loving and sweet and tender. But once in a while, when you needed, or he saw that you were going to benefit by something a little bit more difficult, he wouldn't hesitate.
Well, but sister,
What?
there's nothing in my memory room left. You got it all.
Okay. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Baba.
Jai Baba.